All right, we are live. How you doing? It's Saturday afternoon, Stephen.
Pretty good.
So, kind of waiting on some folks to get in here. We're going to do this a little bit different style. I think the idea was to do similar to the Creep Show reviews, but I don't know if that would work too well with these Unsolved Mystery shows. What do you think?
No, because they all run together.
Yeah, they're all very similar in story and tone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they just couldn't do a little bit more instead of just doing one show about one story. They could have done segments, but maybe that's not the style anymore for these type of shows. But I don't know.
Yeah, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was all kinds of shows like Sightings, Rescue 911 that had like 3 or 4 different segments. But anymore, I don't know if Netflix is just not, that's just too much work for them or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they wanted to stretch it out as long as they could.
Yeah, so Unsolved Mysteries, which I was reading up more about this. Evidently, this is the first half of the first season, and I didn't know that. Did you realize that?
No, not really.
Yeah, so evidently, let's see, coming up later on this year, it is season 1, volume 2.
Ooh.
So we'll have that to look forward to at least.
Hopefully they'll have a Bigfoot episode or something.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit. I think a lot of these episodes were too similar for my liking, but we'll just have to see. Anything else you've been watching recently you want to mention on here before we get started?
Well, speaking of Netflix, I watched the Old Guard with Charlize Theron earlier today, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, what's happened to her? I was just thinking, me and my wife were talking about her for some reason not too long ago, and she's not doing a whole lot of anything mainstream anymore, doesn't seem like.
Well, I mean, she did a couple of movies last year or something, that Bombshells movie and something else. I think the Bombshell movie was the last one that got released.
Right. Like she won that award back in, it's been a while ago now. I can't even remember for that movie Monster.
Yeah.
It just kind of went away. It's kind of odd.
Well, she was in like Atomic Blonde, which was pretty good. I got that on 4K. But yeah, I mean, I guess I think she got some kids or something, so maybe she's just kind of slowed down.
Could be. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the Unsolved Mysteries Season 1, Part 1, or the first half, because there is Season 1, Part 2 coming on later this year. So six episodes. I was kind of curious how they would format this show without Robert Stack, because he was such a integral part, and probably one of the big reasons that show was so memorable. The first thing Sarah told me was that old man just really creeped her out, she said. That was the big thing that she remembered. And throughout the episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, which the original series lasted for years and years and years.
They canceled it and it came back, and then I get it came back on Lifetime in the mid to late 90s, and then at one point they put it was on CBS, and Virginia Madsen was on it with him, and I think that was probably the last season.
Yeah, I saw somebody post about Virginia Madsen, and I had no recollection of that at all, so it couldn't have been very long.
I think it changed a little bit, and it just didn't seem that interesting anymore for some reason, and I didn't watch hardly any of that
I
season.
do remember, God, what was her name? It was Pierce Brosnan's wife now.
Kaylee Smith or something like that.
Yeah, Kaylee Shea Smith or something like that.
She would call him Bob.
Right, right. So, yeah, I mean, they changed a little bit of the episode, but I mean, it was on for a long time overall. Like I know through the 80s and early 90s, it was on like NBC. And
Then it
then
was a Lifetime for a couple years, and then the last one was CBS. So I would say it was. I would think it was beyond. I mean, do you remember the very first season or the first couple shows? It was Raymond Burr was the host.
yeah, I've seen them, but I didn't see him up until probably about 10 or 15 years ago. Whenever YouTube come along, I watched them. But yeah,
Yeah,
I had no recollection of that either. Like he was the first host.
yeah, I remember watching those as a probably like '84 or something like that. They did like two specials, and then they did start doing the series.
Yeah, I mean, but his voice is the big thing that made that show so unique, and his narration throughout the show. So I was curious how they were. Of course, they couldn't use him. He's been dead for like 15, 20 years or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the big thing, I guess, is they had no narration, no
Right.
host.
Well, yeah, the people in the story were doing the narration.
Yeah, which I don't know. And we'll talk about each episode. We'll go through them quickly here. It was fine, but to me, it just didn't feel. It felt more like 48 Hours or Dateline or something like that than Unsolved
Yeah,
Mystery. So I don't know
right.
if they're going to work on changing that, and maybe season 2 having a narrator, which I think would help. Maybe give that old feel to the show, the Unsolved Mysteries feel to it. But
You've heard about that technology where they can actually take a person's voice and then make them say anything, and it sounds just like that person. That's what they should do. They should get Robert Stack's permission to use his voice and run that through that algorithm, and then just have him have that voice narrate the show. That would be a good way of doing it.
yeah, I mean, if the technology is that good, I don't know. I haven't heard of that. But
Yeah, I've actually heard of it. They had to stop some website or something was doing it and making people say weird stuff, and it was outlandish. So they kind of put the kibosh on it. But that would be one way of doing it, other than getting someone with a great voice, like maybe like Keith David. He did that show on A&E for a while.
yeah, I mean, there's a few that I think that they would. I think Sam Elliott would be cool if they could get him. He's got that deep, and it would. I think it would work. I mean, there's a few different people you could get. You could get Morgan Freeman. They might have to break the bank for that one. There's a lot of like.
Can you see Morgan Freeman in the trench coat?
Well, I don't even think that they would need somebody to actually be on screen.
Yeah.
But if they could just
Right.
get like a narrator to do, the talking throughout the episode, because that's kind of what I think that is what made that show so kind of like spooky in a way, like his voice just in between these. And it doesn't matter what the hell he said, it was just creepy. So let's see here. This is a good suggestion here from Angry Popcorn TV. They should have got Uncle Bill to be the host. Could you imagine Uncle Bill?
Right now in today's climate, a transsexual looking guy would be great for it.
Right. I think get Uncle Bill in the trench coat, just walking up, just trying to be creepy. That'd be a good one. Anyway, we're going to go through these episodes, and then we'll talk about possibilities for season 2 and stuff like that. First one up, Mystery on the Rooftop, was about the man who fell to his death at the Belvedere Hotel in Baltimore. Originally, it was suicide. They thought he just killed himself or whatever, but they're questioning, hey, there's some suspicious shit that went on here. This little hole the size of like a potato man the size of a watermelon. How could it have happened? So, yeah, they go over different theories there. The guy's named Ray Rivera. There's no way that he would have killed himself, is what his wife was thinking at the time. So, what do you think about this episode? This is kind of like a, how could it have happened? How could he have, they were looking at different angles from the hotel. Where could he have jumped to get that kind of momentum to just go straight through a metal roof? And evidently he had passed away for a few days before they found the body. So I couldn't imagine what that smell would have been like.
I don't know. It was just, that was the first episode, and it was kind of trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this show. I guess it was okay, but I mean, sometimes weird stuff happens, and then sometimes you just don't want to accept the truth. So I don't know if that's the case, because they just can't accept that maybe he did kill himself. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of an odd first choice for the kind of the debut episode of this. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's like, odds are this guy just killed himself. I mean, he just jumped off the top of like a garage or whatever they said that he could have done. And because there wasn't enough else there that actually would lead you to believe that anything else happened. Like, what, they didn't really show anything that would have proved otherwise. I mean, wasn't there a guy that he had worked with or something like that they were talking about, the that he wouldn't, or was that another episode? Another episode. Yeah, I think that might be another episode. These go together, kind of.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, decent enough, I guess. This next one, episode 2, is 13 minutes. Who abducted and murdered Patrice Andrews in broad daylight? She was a hair salon, hairstylist. You know, we know a lot about them, don't we, Stu?
Yep.
Who disappeared, and her remains were found 2 years later. And yeah, it's still an unsolved mystery. So if you have any leads,
Unsolved.
1-800-876-5353.
Yeah.
This one was forgettable. This is probably the most forgettable episode of the whole series.
I didn't realize it was that short. You said it was 13 minutes?
That's the name of it.
Oh. I was like, damn, I didn't remember it being that short.
And don't confuse it with the the movie 13 minutes. Is there a movie 13 or is it 15 minutes?
I don't know. I haven't heard of
it. What
anything.
about the JFK assassination?
Oh,
I think that was 13 minutes. Oh. So, okay. Episode 3. I really enjoyed this episode, but this entire episode was in French, and people hated it because of that. But it had a very interesting story set in France, of course. And this man,
the home of the French.
Yeah, Créateur aux French fella. Xavier Dupont, Le Gourness, was part of a tag team with Dino Bravo back in the day. But he went to, he evidently just murdered his entire family and buried them under the porch where they lived and vanished. You know, I don't think they ever found him, which is very bizarre. That kind of thing does not really happen nowadays. But this was this happened in 2011 when he murdered his entire family. He had actually sent a voicemail to his sister just stating that he was going to put the kids to sleep. And he sure did. So, yeah, none of his family was ever seen alive again after that date. Their bodies, discovered under wet cement under the family's home in their back porch. But he is still at large almost 10 years later. So he's another one.
Used that quick setting cement.
Huh?
You should have used that quick setting cement.
Yeah.
Quick dry.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, this was just I love the way they set the episode up, but I'm still kind of at a loss why it was in French. What do you think? Didn't really need to be.
I didn't know. I guess the majority of those people couldn't speak English, and that was the choice they went. Besides doing like an overdub.
Yeah, they should have got
French people. They'll have the person talk in their language and have it a little bit at a lower volume, and then have somebody speak over top of it.
Got with Dario Argento's people, and they could dub some shit for him.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I was talking to Sarah about this too. We was talking about because she really enjoyed the movie Midsummer. We watched that. We were talking about that again. My mother-in-law actually enjoyed that movie too. Now that's just weird, but
from Dry Creek Road,
all the way up to Dry Creek Road. And I was just telling her, I've always been a fan of movies that are a little bit less Hollywood. And I was telling her about those Italian movies and just the way that up until probably the mid-90s, they just never recorded the audio on those Italian movies and just dubbed them later or whatever. And you would have just got a big kick out of it. She just said, out loud, well, that's stupid.
I've heard that before.
That's kind of her saying. And I was thinking, I was like, yeah, Steve would have got a chuckle out of that. But yes, Dario Argento would hook them the fuck up. He would tell them how to overdub that shit. He's got plenty of experience doing it, even at 95 years old, however old he is. How old is Dario Argento, by the way? He's got to be at least in his 80s.
I thought he's in his 70s, but I don't know. I think he had a birthday recently.
Yeah, I would think he'd be close to 80 at this point. He's been around quite a while. Think about it, Steve.
Think about it. Yep.
So, if you know the whereabouts of Xavier Dupont Legonis, please call 1-800-876-5353 or visit
Operators on standby.
Unsolved.com.
Yes.
So, House of Terror, though, I really enjoyed. That was probably overall my favorite of the series. But they're all pretty good. The only one that I totally couldn't remember was that episode 2. So, episode 4. This was set in April of 2004. Alonzo Brooks went with a bunch of his friends to a party at a farmhouse in a small rural town in Kansas. And Alonzo's friends kind of leave him there. He's there by himself. And Alonzo is missing. Zoe has nowhere to be found. So local law enforcement are searching for him and all that. And they find his body, but they still have no clue what happened with, at that night at that party. Alonzo was a black boy, and it was in Kansas, at a farm. So,
yeah, but there was wasn't there some? There was more people there, and wasn't there some?
Some of his friends was there,
but there was also some local redneck boys
who I guarantee they had some rap CDs in their car, but they do not. I know how they are. They do not like African American gentlemen.
No.
Yeah, that's the story. That this was a good episode as well. I kind of like this one. The name of this one was No Ride Home. And the thing is, I live in a small town, and when shit like that goes down, which not a lot of stuff exactly like that goes down here, but if it's something racially charged, usually and you're around a bunch of redneck police and redneck cops and stuff like that. They just don't. Had that happen now with the Black Lives Matter thing, it'd be everywhere. But this was 16 years ago. I'm sure that any reputable police agency would be able to find out what went wrong there. But where it's in like bumfuck Kansas,
yeah,
it's probably never gonna. They'll probably never find out what happened there. So, what do you think of this episode, Steve?
Yeah, I liked it. It was one of the better ones. Peach.
You ever tried that, man? That's some good shit.
I'm not a big peach person.
You're not a big fan of anything, from what I've heard. All that good food that Dana fixes, you don't never even try it. You picky son of a bitch.
That's one. I can't help it.
But I did want to let everyone know, though, if anybody in Kansas has any information about this tragic crime against Alonzo Brooks, you can go to unsolved.com, let them know, or call 1-800-876-5353.
Do. Update.
Maybe you can help solve a mystery.
Yeah.
So, this one, I'm glad they did this one, because this is one of the themes in Unsolved Mysteries that everyone loves. So, when Unsolved Mysteries released those DVD sets back in the day, everybody, their dicks were getting all hard, because you had the ghost set, you had the bizarre Strange Legends set, you had the Lost, there's a few other ones, but you had the UFO set. That was the one. The UFO set and the ghost set, those were the two big ones for me.
I got the best of.
There was Strange Legends, UFOs, ghosts.
UFOs.
There was another one that was
treasures,
like
lost treasures or something.
Wasn't there something like a Mysterious Creatures set or something like that? It was about like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and all that.
Maybe.
I think so.
I'm not sure why I don't got that one then. But I got the best of, which has like all the big episode or big segments, like with the one with Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
And other ones.
Yeah, I remember that one where Matthew McConaughey gets killed or something in it, right? Doesn't he get shot?
Yeah. Yeah, because some old man's playing with himself, or no, he was walking down the street with his pants down.
Yeah, who would have thought? Though, just like you're trying to say, "Hey, you old pervert, put your dick up." You get killed.
Yeah,
but there were
was walking down the street next to a bunch of little kids.
Yeah,
and he went back to his truck and got his rifle and just shot Matthew McConaughey a bunch of times.
You want to see it, Pops? You want popsicle, kids?
Here's my rocket pop.
So, they did the UFO episode, the Berkshire's UFO. This happened way back in 1969, Steve, when you were I think you were in high school around that time, right?
I was either in my mom's belly or probably in my mom's belly.
So, this was in, was it Massachusetts? Where was this at? I can't remember.
I thought it was,
where was it? Texas?
I don't know. I thought it was in England.
Texas, Massachusetts, one of those states.
Anyway,
several people with no apparent connection to one another experience the same thing, being abducted and anally probed by aliens on September 1st, 1960. So they had the narrator in this one was Tommy Warner, who was 10 at the time. And he claims that he was vanished and up in an alien spacecraft for 7 minutes.
Ooh.
And Melanie Bauman, who was 14, also saw the UFO and said she was blinded by the light. So, I mean, there's a lot of different occurrences on that particular night. 50 years later, in this episode, the people that have survived all those years were telling their side of the story, and this was kind of the UFO, which I was kind of a little bit let down by it. I'm glad that they did do a UFO episode, but it was so long ago that it's just like, okay, let's sit around a campfire and tell just fucking story. I mean, that's what it was. There was nothing really to it. I would rather them do a UFO episode that involves something more recent, something with, some video footage of it and all that.
Right. They could have done like that, the shit in Phoenix or something from the 90s.
Well, and they did. They did do a few reenactments, but it's like you can tell it was on a very, very, very low budget. The reenactments were like basically this whole series. It's almost like an executive from Netflix was like, "Okay, let's see how fast we can pump this shit out," because I mean it was well done and everything. But like Netflix throws some major cash at some of these series. Like Sarah watches a ton of this shit. And this one, it's like, I don't know. It almost felt like it was kind of, a lot of these episodes were kind of just thrown together. And it's just talking head stuff, like Dateline, 48 Hours type stuff. So, what do you think of this episode, though?
I mean, I guess it was okay. Kind of hard to. Yeah, I mean, I was just glad they were doing something slightly different than the murders and disappearances.
Right. Yeah, I guess it was a break from the missing people and the, unsolved murders and stuff like that. They could have just called this whole series Unsolved Murders.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. Unsolved deaths.
Yeah.
So, episode, let's see here. Episode 6 was memorable. This one is Missing Witness. Let's read you the synopsis here, Steve. When Lena Chapman was 13-year-old, her stepfather Gary disappeared. When she was 17, she told Gary's brother that her mother Sandy had killed Gary and forced Lena to help her clean up the crime. Years later, Lena disappeared from her home, leaving behind her boyfriend and her young son.
Wow. A lot of disappearance.
There's a lot of killing going on in this episode. Sandy insists that Lena ran off to live with another guy, but Lena's sisters think that her mom may have killed Lena too. What do you think?
A lot of people say everybody runs away. There's not a lot of people that run away anymore because, I mean, you can't really go anywhere without knowing. So if you disappear completely, there's a good chance you're dead.
Yeah, it's really hard to run away, especially now.
Right.
Because there's such a large, I guess, digital footprint that you can leave by doing anything. If you go in a store, use a credit card to pay for something, there's a camera that's going to see your ass leaving that store. So, what in the hell's going on here? Finger fuck yourself tonight. Pull it out, stick it in. Oh no. Was that one of our songs?
Maybe. I remember something about
finger fuck you papa. That was one.
Yeah. Well,
I saw that. Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of killing going on in Missing Witness, and again, like my only issue with these episodes is a lot of the stories are all the same. Like it's nothing really, to me, if you're going to especially do it unlike the original Unsolved Mysteries that had 3 or 4 stories in each episode, one story per episode, to me, all 6 of these episodes should be themed differently about something different. I always like the missing children stories. Those were cool back in the day. You could do one of those, do one on like a creature like Loch Ness or just a weird, Bigfoot creature. Do one on a little troll. There's legends about trolls in Mexico and shit like that. They could do that.
What the blue people of Kentucky, or was it the blue or the green people?
The blue people of Kentucky, that was not a mystery. That actually was real.
I know.
Yeah, that was some sort of it was some sort of genetic thing or something. I heard, but all that I think the medicine got good enough here in the mountains, so they don't have to have blue people anymore.
Blue Ridge, the awful Blue.
Well,
Ridge.
you could do a story on it. I mean, it'd be interesting. A lot of people probably don't know about that.
Is this the worst segment they used to do that I don't care about? Is Lost Loves? I don't give a shit about that.
I never did give a shit about those either, but well, that'd be hard to do a whole episode on something like that. It'd have to be really intriguing if you're doing.
I mean, obviously that's something for filler, you know.
Yeah, conspiracy theory episode. You could do something like that. Everybody like that. UFO episode. You know, I mean, to me, they didn't really.
What about Psy-Med? You remember that? That was one of the things that came up sometimes on stories.
Or Lost Heirs. I hated that shit. I saw that one coming. I was like, okay, it's good to go warm me up some pizza rolls or go piss. I don't give one single solitary damn about Lost Heirs. And it's almost like the people that made Unsolved Mysteries knew that, so that was like the tacked on final segment that was like 5 minutes long or something like that.
That's where
Robert Stack was like, here's a heartwarming story about some sort of bullshit that you don't care about.
I don't even know if they do this anymore, but you remember those like these people had like muscular dystrophy or some shit with their muscles, and they were like taking them and getting stung with bees, and then that would generate some kind of thing where they would be able to keep. They had like MS or something, and then they would keep. I don't hear none of that shit no more. So either that was bullshit, or there's got to be a reason why they're not doing it no more. Every day they would get a bee out and force it to sting your leg or something.
Right. I just think that with this first season, the episodes could have been a little bit more different. Like there were too many murder mystery episodes and nothing really else aside from that Berkshire's UFO one, which was from 50 fucking years ago. So most of the people that were even around then are either dead or very, very old. You got a 10-year-old boy is now 60, so that should just tell you something.
Another thing they could have probably done is if they have rights, they could like do a full story. Like they had a story on Unsolved Mysteries in '95, and then just in the last couple decades, they actually have they found the person or whatever. They could do like the whole thing instead. You get the update, but there's a lot of stories on there that don't have updates because they stopped making them because. Why would they keep on making updates after the series went off the air?
Right. I mean, you could almost do something like you could use some of that old footage and have new stuff and just do one final update thing on it and do it that way.
Right.
Because they'd be more likely to do something like that if it was a traditional Unsolved Mysteries style, had 3 or 4 episodes.
Did you like the one with, what's his name? The most recent incarnation that was on like Spike and stuff.
No, Dennis Farina or something like that. No,
well, they did speed up. I mean, they had so many stories in one episode because they kind of sped them up or made them like really brief. So you would get like about 3 episodes in one.
Yeah, that guy didn't fit as a host either, though. He just didn't. It didn't work. I didn't think he worked.
I think his voice was not good enough, and he was an older guy. He
looked more like somebody that would be in the mafia or something that would come after you.
Well, that's what
did that guy pass? He passed away too, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't last. I mean, he died pretty quickly after that thing ended or something.
So, yeah, that was the first season of Unsolved Mysteries. Well, part one of the first season. So, volume 2, I guess, is going to be released later in the year, it says.
Later in the year.
Since its release on July 1st, the show has stayed on Netflix's top 10. And I think it's number 1.
Well,
right
Old Guard is number 1 right now.
What is?
The Old Guard, that movie I watched earlier.
Oh, did it just because Unsolved Mysteries had been at number 1 ever since I'd looked on there, but it must have been.
I think they released that movie yesterday, and I went to Netflix, and it was number 1. But Unsolved Mysteries is either 2 or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed the episode. I watch the series. I watch all kinds of shit like this. I like 48 Hours, Dateline. There's one that there's all kinds of shit like that on on ID channel. I Live with the Killer and stuff like that. So this is very close to all that stuff in style. And I really wish that they would have made it stylistically more like the original show. Used a lot of that music like they used in the show, which the opening credits, you do see like a ghost of Robert Stack in the background of the logo.
Yeah.
So they do have a couple of homages there. But yeah, I mean, moving forward, I want to see them actually put some more money into the series and make it more like the original show. Since they own the name and the music and everything like that, I would think it would be, I mean, for sure they would want to stick with the same format.
Well, I mean, like you were saying of cost, it definitely doesn't cost them to get. I mean, I guess they're to pay someone else to do the voiceovers, so he get like you're getting all these people just to talk. So, but I think it would help.
Yeah, the voiceover thing would be big, and then also incorporating the music like they did in the original series. Like they have the theme music, but a lot of the little, intricate Unsolved Mystery scores that they put throughout the episodes are gone. I think that'd be cool to bring back. And also just focus on some different type of stories for volume 2. I don't think they've announced anything. I was reading this on here. So, okay, it says 2 of the upcoming 6 episodes of volume 2 were filmed internationally. So we'll probably get some more episodes that Frenchie Martin will have to translate for us. And what else here? Continuing on without a narrator, at least through season 2, is what it's saying. So
yeah, I figured they've already got them all made. They just maybe broke them up because they for more content.
Right. Netflix, the thing is, it's like most of the stuff on Netflix now is like original series stuff. I was looking at that now, and it's just changed so much over the last 3 or 4 years. So,
yep, you would be like crazy trying to keep up with everything on Netflix.
I know they actually. I don't know if you saw this, but Supermarket Sweep is on Netflix now. The old school show. Did you ever watch that back in the day?
Nah.
It's actually kind of cool to watch because you can see like old. I saw a woman had an old Dorito bag, and she's like, "Oh, I've got the Doritos! Fuck yeah!" You can see like aisles of Crystal Pepsi stacked. 2 liters of Crystal Pepsi.
Well,
but I want that peach pop, baby.
Peachy.
That's peach. It's sparkling peach flavored water.
Woo.
All right. So, anybody else have any thoughts on? Let's see. We got one from Angry Popcorn on here. Not a fan of there not being a host. We've got the grandson of the original guy who did the show.
I didn't know any more Stacks. Who were in there?
Robert Stack the Third.
Yes, Bobby Stacks.
Bobby Stack sounds like a rapper.
He probably is.
Somebody else said on here, Argento is still alive? Question mark. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still kicking. He's one of the only ones left from that era.
Well,
Is Poopy
Bob
Avati still alive, Steve?
who?
Poopy Avati.
Poopy. Cozy still alive, and then Roberto Baba's still alive.
Somebody look up Poopy Avati. He was my favorite.
Poopy.
I'm not shitting you.
I know who you're talking about.
Poopy Avati, buddy. God, don't joke.
I read something about a new Demons movie that Roberto Baba was going to make.
Is Poopy directed it?
I think Roberto Baba's directing it.
Roberto Baba's still alive too. I bet he's got to be up there too.
Yeah, I met him.
Ooh, Lamberto. So, anybody else got anything, any input about the Unsolved Mysteries season? And again, I wanted to let everyone know if you had any information about any of these episodes that we discussed on here today, you can go to unsolved.com or call 1-800-876-5353.
Any more super chats?
Yeah, I hope so. We need some super chats. Give me some money.
Us some money.
We got 18 or 19 people watching us now, Steve, live. You got anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Just be kind to each other.
Yeah. I'm not going to dare say all lives matter, though. That'll get more heat than fucking Arn Anderson turning on Sting at that Slamboree show.
What about Kurt Hennig turning on the Four Horsemen? Wouldn't that be?
That was bad, too. That was hate worthy. What was all them times that Flair turned on Sting at least half a dozen times over the years?
I know, I love it because like Sting, one time he goes, you turned on me several times. I'm just going to let you know there's going to be some, warning him if he does it, he's going to get holy hell. And it's like, he's going to turn on you.
Yeah, because it was like, well, he's not going to do it this time, and of course he does.
He wouldn't do it for the fourth or fifth time. Come on.
I mean, he's done it so much, it would be just predictable if he did it again.
Yeah, this time he's not going to do it. But he did.
Let's see here. Phantom of the Hummus says, I'm definitely into the murder mystery aspect, but I agree they should have had more variety. When it comes to murder mystery stuff, hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But Unsolved Mysteries was not strictly a murder mystery show. There was a lot more aspects to it. See, like the Patterson-Gimlin thing, they could do a whole new episode on that. There's been a lot of shit that's went on with that since Unsolved Mysteries, the original season. People remastered, done 4K transfers on that film. Yeah.
They stabilized it so you can see without jittering.
Yeah, they could do a whole one on that. People would watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah. I'd watch it. I'd enjoy it.
And I did receive confirmation here from Jeff Gardner that Poopy Avati is 81.
It's still kicking your ass. Yes.
Revenge of the Dead is probably the best artwork for the shittiest movie that I can think of. That poster art is badass. We used that artwork for one of the very first Dead Pit propaganda pieces from way back in the day, 2006.
I always hate that damn ending that doesn't end. It's not an ending. It pisses me off.
Well, that's because the last half of the reel, Poopy lost it in a fire. One of Poopy's trailers.
It went poppy. It went poop.
Poopy.
Poop.
It's not poppy, it's Poopy.
Poop. Poopy.
P-U-P-I, Poopy. So, anything else going on with you, Steve? Did you get any of your Blu-rays from that Severin sale?
I haven't even got an invoice yet, so I don't know.
Except the only orders they're accepting now is COD. They can't accept credit cards anymore because they got hacked. Are they fighting, Steve?
No, he wants to yell at the other dogs.
I did see that the 4K of Jaws has went down even more in price. It's down to $15 and something.
Yeah, I mean I mean, some movies like that for some reason do that. I don't know if they're just trying to blow it out and lower they're getting lowering their profit margins and just getting as much money as they can to back in, especially since of the way things are now. With
what I wondered is when that Blu-ray came out, when did that Blu-ray come out? Probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And
well, me and Dana were together, I thought, so it was within the last 7 or 8 years.
I'm wondering if they just released the same thing and just put it on 4K, because they said that they'd remastered they'd spent years remastering that movie, so I wouldn't think that they'd do it again. Blue Underground didn't do that shit. That's just the same, like the special editions that came out, and then 2 months later they had the 4Ks come out of House by the Cemetery and Zombie, and which Zombie looks awesome. Like, I don't know how they shot that movie, but I remember the original Blu-ray of Zombie looking freaking unreal. Like, I don't know, it's just weird, but most of those other movies I couldn't see looking that great for. Like New York Ripper, how would that look? Like, I can't see that one looking great in 4K.
I mean, I bought that new Blu-ray that came out 6 or 7 months ago or whatever, and it looks really good. I think they did do a 4K transfer, and then they dumb it down for Blu-ray, so they got the 4K stuff, so they could put it on the 4K disc. So they probably are not, doing a new transfer for the 4Ks unless they say they are, which but they are releasing the I guess uncompressed 4K. So I guess it looks somewhat better with HDR and all that nonsense.
It's weird that you've got all these companies like Screen Factory, aside from Screen Factory doing these 4K, Screen Factory is yet to announce anything in 4K.
And then what I've heard, it's like, four times or something expensive than a regular Blu-ray to manufacture. So you expect
it, though.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is like some of these other companies are ponying up the money to get that done, but someone who's got all the more resources and you would think a lot more revenue, like Screen Factory and Shout Factory, would be putting some more out.
I think Shout Factory did release a couple. It's nothing really groundbreaking, but Screen Factory, maybe they're waiting on that 4K set of Friday the 13th.
You imagine the cost on that, though.
Oh, people pay it. Hell, people pay it.
I'll let Damon get that. I'm not getting it because they're good enough for me on Blu-ray. Because they're gonna look great, but if there's more to it, if they had some extra footage that they could add back in, which I think
it's obvious at this point that footage is either lost or it doesn't exist.
Right. So you're going to get a better picture to a degree, but at some point, I'm just not that interested in upgrading everything I just bought within the last 5 years to get a 4K. There's some movies I'm okay with just what I got, and I just don't want to spend any more.
Well, the thing is, too, like most of those Friday the 13th films, and it seems like especially after probably part 4, they were just shot and made so cheaply that I just can't imagine from the Blu-ray to the 4K, it being noticeable at all. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I don't know. But I can see maybe Freddy versus Jason looking really good in 4K, like one of the newer ones. But like Friday the 13th, Part 6, Part 7, I just couldn't see it looking like, oh, look at that. You can see feel the slime coming off of Jason, baby.
What if they put like 2 movies on one 4K disc or something?
Well, I think what they'll do, they'll probably do that because that kind of makes sense. And that way it'll save them a little bit production-wise. But you'll see like documentaries and stuff. Like they'll have probably the Crystal Lake Memories documentary on there. They'll probably have His Name Was Jason on there. Maybe make something new, put it on there too.
That whole story thing that they were doing on all the discs.
Because that set is coming, and we're going to be talking to Michael Felcher sooner or later, and I'm going to get the lowdown on that. That's going to be a scoop.
You've not had a scoop in a long time, I don't think so.
But it's high time we get a scoop.
You're due for a scoop or 2.
Yeah, I think if Michael Felcher was to give us a scoop from anything Scream Factory related, they'd fire his ass.
He'd be out there in his that chicken. I got a chicken. That's all I got.
We're the only ones that make those scoop announcements. You motherfucker, you.
Scoopers.
Let's see here. Angry Popcorn TV. When was the last time that you had a Jaeger bomb, CK? It's been quite a while.
The last bomb did a lot of damage.
Dangle 21. American Wrestler for the first time. I've never seen that. What is that? Have you heard of that, Steve?
No, that's interesting. I mean, unless he's not talking about that one with Dusty Rhodes back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen that one?
I like to hurt people. I've seen that. That's out on Blu-ray, ain't it?
I don't know. I've seen it. I've got it, but I don't. But there was a wrestler. It was AWA stuff, like Vern Gagne or somebody. They made like a movie, and like I know there was a bar scene with Stan Hansen and Dusty Rhodes get into a big fight. I haven't watched it in a while, but it was interesting to watch.
Clue me in on what American Wrestler is, Dingle. I don't know.
American Males.
Yeah, that was a classic theme song from back in the day. I wish they would release that on vinyl. Somebody's asking us about vinyl. That'd be a good one.
45.
Yeah, just the theme song to American Males. Have you seen Buff Bagwell lately, by the way, though?
No.
Jesus Christ. My latest thing when I'm really bored, Steve, is I'll go on that website Cameo and just look for people.
Oh,
and Buff Bagwell's on there, and he does these shout outs and stuff for like $40 or $50. I don't know what it is. I can't remember how much he's charging. But man, he is fucked up when he's doing these. Like he is like blown away on something. And he's like, "Hey, Joshua, I heard that you're a big fan of Buff. And I'm the stuff." You know, he just really fucked up. And his arms look deflated. And it looks like he's almost like, do you remember Mean Gene's arm where one of his arms was like swollen?
No.
Regular. Yeah, it was some sort of like issue with his liver or something like that. He looked like that. Like, I don't know if he's got something major going on with him. He looks really messed up.
There's a show. It used to be on Showtime, and it's called like American Gigolos or something like that. And they were and Buff Bagwell was a gigolo on there, screwing these older chicks. It was great.
That was a while ago, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's like 10 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah, time has not been kind to Buff Daddy. I'll say that.
I think the stuff got to him.
Yeah. He is buff, and he's done too much of the stuff. John Martin said that Shout Select did do the Deer Hunter, I guess, in 4K.
Yeah, Dana bought it, but I haven't seen it.
Do you like the movie The Deer Hunter?
I mean, I can see how, artistically, but God, it's dark as shit. And
It's very, very long. I remember it being crazy long.
I mean, we just, I think last weekend we just watched the 4K of Scarface that I had bought many, many months earlier because it was so long. And I just didn't want to sit down and wait and watch 3 hours of that. But I mean, once you get it going, it goes pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm not a big fan of that movie Deer Hunter, to be honest with you. I mean, I can see like Christopher Walken does a really good job in it, and I can see how he was like nominated and everything. But, like, I'm just not a fan. I bought that on DVD. Like, it's one of the early DVDs that I bought because I'd never seen it, and then I watched it, and I was like, I'll probably never watch that movie again. And I haven't. I have not still this day.
You kept to that promise.
Let's see here. Another one from Angry Popcorn. What is both your favorite vinyl record? Mine would be Ozzy's new album. So you're asking about, I guess, just new records in general. Shinedown hadn't had a new album out in a while, so Steve probably won't.
I've bought some vinyl, but I've never usually opened them. A lot of them. Probably I guess the Deep Red soundtrack that I got signed.
Yeah, if you're just talking about, I guess, records, vinyl records, the coolest one that we have got is a test pressing that Sarah won at a record store that's signed by Jason Isbell and the entire 400 unit. That's probably
all 400 of them.
Yeah. Actually, the keyboard player signed it twice. I was like, there's only like 6 people in that band. There's 7 autographs on it. And I looked and I was like, oh, okay, that's the same autograph twice.
There you go.
Yeah.
What about what's his face? That other bearded guy you like, Chris Stapleton. Got his autograph?
I met Chris Stapleton, yeah. Did you see that picture?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got an autographed 10-inch vinyl of his, an autographed CD.
Ooh.
I got a bunch of like a lot of the artists that I like are not really that mainstream. They do like these pre-orders where you'll get your record signed if you order it and shit. I've got a lot of them like that. But one of the coolest records that just for the record itself that I've got is the Trick or Treat soundtrack that Waxwork Records did. I've got a candy corn colored vinyl of that, and that one's really sweet looking.
I got Dana like one a prom night. This one company called like 1984 was releasing them, and I got her like it looks like a disco ball on the LP. And then you get a condom with it and something for prom night. Pretty fun.
Waxwork Records have the I think it's another edition of the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack. Did she ever get that? Because that one went on sale yesterday. I think it's still available.
Nah.
This one's in like a sunset purple color, like for the poster. Yeah. So there's all kinds of those companies out there. Mondo records are a little bit cheaper than the Waxwork. The Waxwork ones are like $40 a pop. Those are kind of high. Mondo's like 25. I think Mondo's got a new. They've got new shit every week. I don't know. I'm wondering, like, do they have their own pressing plan or something like that? Because they come out with so much shit. I don't see how they can even prepare for it.
I would doubt it. I think they probably just, outsource that to whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of stuff because there's stuff every week it comes out. So, let's see here. Scare Package, Steve. Have you seen? I haven't seen. I don't have Shudder, so I've heard people mention that.
I've watched a little bit of when Joe Bob had it on his show, but I never did watch the entire thing. So I mean, it looks okay. I probably revisit it, but I wouldn't say it was that great. Hogzilla, I didn't make it through that because that was, I mean, it was really bad.
What was it?
There was this movie that Joe Bob did that never got, I guess, completed as far as the post production, and then the male girl Darcy, and I don't know if she paid for it herself or got some people together to pay for it, but they completed it and then they showed it on his show, and he's in it a little bit. So, but yeah,
most
it
of these
was.
movies, there are reasons they never come out or they never got completed. Usually, it's
Right.
like a Return to Sleepaway Camp. Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
What
Well,
a
I mean,
piece.
this one looked like it was completed, but God, man, it's so boring. And I mean, there's some stuff that happens, but it's really, really bad.
Dingle's talking about American Wrestlers: The True Story of Ali Johnny, an Iranian kid who comes to America to become a wrestler, pro wrestler.
Yeah, I think I was googling that, and it's called American Wrestler the Wizard, something like that.
Not sure.
It's on Vudu,
Oh, is it on Voodoo?
which I thought Vudu went away.
You thought what now?
I think on Netflix.
Okay. Let's see here. Last thing, and then we'll get going. I know Steve's got things to do and people to see. Bombastic reviews asking about conventions here. Do either of you think the convention scene will die off due to COVID? And if it doesn't, do you see yourself attending them then again in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely go to some of them. It's more about the vendors and stuff than actually getting autographs because they're just too expensive now. I mean, there's obviously one here or there. I don't know that they're trying to do something online and stuff now, where they were like, I saw William Shatner was instead of like you buying an autograph, you're buying a like a little bit of a Zoom the Zoom meeting with him or something. It's weird, but
yeah, I think there's a for wrestling fans. There's something called the Asylum. Have you seen it on Facebook? Where you can.
I mean, I saw something about some kind of wrestling thing online where they,
it's a
stuff
video
like that.
chat thing that they'll bring you on to talk with them, and you can get whatever they're selling signed, like 8x10, or sometimes they have like pop figures or whatever else. So that's kind of cool. I think it's going to be a very long time before conventions are a thing again. They'll eventually come back, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be a while. It's probably going to be over a year or longer because this thing's got to have. They got to get the vaccine for this thing, and then they got to make sure it actually is working. I think this is going to be a fucking nightmare this fall when kids go back to school and shit. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Hopefully, it won't be as bad as people think. But conventions, sports, movies, stuff like that. I think all that's going to be on hold for a while.
I mean, I went to the gym today, and they announced that you have to wear a mask everywhere. And I was in the gym like for 2 seconds. I looked around. There's this doofus with no mask at all. And they said, I talked to the person working there, and they said you have to wear it, but if you're actually doing something, you can pull it down so you can breathe better. But some of these people didn't have a mask around their neck or anything. It's like, what the hell? I don't know what they're doing. So there's always going to be some idiots who are not going to wear anything, and then that if everybody's not doing it, then it's really not really working to keep people from getting it.
Yeah. And the thing is like, what's really scary about this whole situation is doing the masks or anything like that, nothing has really changed at all. Like it doesn't seem like it's going down. And I think it'll be until that vaccine is ready before we'll see any real like change. It seems like so.
I mean, the only thing I can see that would help is if it, later on this, when it gets November or December, is like we have really brutal cold, and then that will make people stay in because obviously summertime coming up, all these people went to flock to Florida for their vacation like it's normal,
Right.
it's just business as usual, which is ridiculous. And so, and then a bunch of assholes got it. So it's like, and then you bring it back to wherever you came from. So it's just like you're just not thinking straight. I mean,
No.
you're just ridiculous. And then and then you hear people, I don't believe it's real and all this other nonsense, which those people should be locked up in a nut house for observation for a couple days.
Well, the governor of Kentucky tried to mandate everyone wear masks, right? And then, of course, most of the right wing people go fucking nuts over it. The big, the I call them trumpets. That's what I call them. And it's like, yeah, because your asshole leader will not fucking wear a mask, and the vice president goes in the damn hospital without wearing a mask. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, like whatever Trump Jr.'s woman got the virus, so that's only one person removed from him. I wish he would get it, to be honest, so that way that would show how stupid he is in everybody's damn eyes, because he's one of the biggest morons I've ever fucking seen.
I agree. Like, I don't want to turn this into a big political thing, but I can't fucking stand him. Like,
no,
it's not that I'm voting for Biden. I'm just voting against him.
Right. I mean, that's just. I mean, I'd rather go back to the way it was than put up with people lying. And this is ridiculous. This is like bizarro land. Me and my sister got into an argument about it because her and my mom are for him, and it's like, why? And listen to him.
Yeah, it's the same shit like the abortion thing. It always goes back to the abortion thing and gun rights. Like, that's the two big things. Like, neither of those are ever going to, they ain't shit ever going to change with either one of those. They're not going to be able to take
here's my suggestion with abortion. If you want to stop abortion, make sure there's plenty of condoms and shit available for everybody, and not go on about it, which the Catholics are against it for whatever freaking reason. And then if that's not the case, then every baby that's born, one of you guys need to adopt it. And then they'll say, well, I can't adopt. Well, then you don't. I mean, you should be in the conversation.
Not your.
There's options here, but if you don't want to give up something, then stop trying to go on. I mean, nobody wants to see a damn baby get aborted, but what are you going to do? There's too many dumbasses in this world who can't raise kids. And if you raise these kids, God knows what they'll turn into, because they can't even provide for themselves, and most of them are probably drug addicts and everything else. So it's just a big mess.
Take that option away. If a mother wants to abort that baby, it's going to fucking get aborted one way or another. If it's legal or illegal to do, that's the way I look at it. That's what happened back in the 30s.
Yeah, there's always going to be stupid asses like the people who go to a garage and get their ass. They want a big ass, so they get it filled with something, and it sometimes it'll turn out to be fucking cement or some shit. Right. They just pump silicone directly into your ass, so you can have a jiggly fat ass. Well, yeah, that costs $50.
That's what you want done, isn't it, Steve? You want to have curves?
Yeah, I put oil in my muscles. I want to look like one of those big old oil boys.
Backwell did, and the oil went bad. It become all loose and like. So. Anyway, I guess we'll end it on that. But yeah, I think there's got to be some major leadership changes as well before this whole COVID thing's going to get any better. And I'd rather have a man with dementia than a fucking man that has no fucking common sense.
Without a fucking fake tan.
Yeah. with Cheeto dust all over his face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys checking it out. Unsolved Mysteries Season 1, Volume 2 is coming later on this year, and we'll probably talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Later.